God, we're live. It's a miracle. My God, we're finally live. It's a miracle. It only took like an hour. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the worst podcast ever. It's going to be a short episode, sadly. I have been fighting with YouTube to get this video started for the last hour, almost. And yeah, it's going to be a short episode this week because of that. There's a snowstorm coming, and I want to go shopping, get my grocery shopping done before the storm hits. And it's like YouTube's decided, oh no, you can't hurry us along today. We're not in the mood to be hurrying along. So okay, fine. So for those of you wondering why this week's episode is going to be a little on the short side, that's why. Because I've been spending the last legit almost hour fighting with YouTube just to get this to load up. I don't know what the issue is on their end, if it's on my end. I have no idea, but it's pissing me off either way. Anyway, welcome everybody to the worst podcast ever, where this week we're talking about shows and movies from the 1980s. And I'm going to safely say this might end up being one of the last live episodes of this show if I keep having these issues just trying to get the live stream to start. Plus, I have a cat that wants me to spend time with her. And she's been a pain in the ass all morning because of it. So, worst case scenario, this show might be going something akin to what my old podcast was, where it's just static image and that's it. Or I'll just cancel this one and not do anything else on YouTube. Would that make the YouTube algorithm gods happy? Please let me know, YouTube. There. Now I've got that out of my system. Now we can actually start the show this week. Welcome, everybody. We're talking about shows and movies from the 1980s. And that's this week's topic. It's going to be, like I said, a semi-short podcast because of the issues that I was having with trying to start this podcast up today. I'm not even joking. And I don't know if it's my internet connection or what, but it's been driving me nuts all day. And I'm irritable and irate about it. But we're talking about shows and movies from the 80s today. The episode's only going to be maybe about 40 minutes long, guys, not counting this little tangent because of just how I am annoyed. And I got a new phone. Yes, the screen protector does have some air bubbles. It's not the right size screen protector, so I don't know where it is. It's another problem I've been dealing with this week, on top of my mental crap. But anyway, well, everybody, let's talk about shows and movies from the 1980s, and I'm just going to start off with some of my favorites from the 80s, and of course, favorite movies. Let's just go right off with that. Back to the Goddamn Future is one of my favorite 1980s movies. Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd. It just is a wonderful, wonderful science fiction adventure. Time traveling DeLorean, which, I mean, come on, it's a DeLorean. It travels in time. That's cool. I do like the DeLorean. I do like the look of it. I would never fit in one, sadly, and I learned that the hard way. Excuse me for a second. Okay, sorry about that. Twix decided she's in a timeout now. So, that's that. All right. Talking about Back to the Future. I like Back to the Future. I really did. Sort of what they did with The Karate Kid. I didn't see the first Back to the Future. I ended up starting with Back to the Future Part 2. I don't remember if it was TNT or TBS at the time had it on the one weekend, and they had basically this. And I came in and this is really cool. I thought this was kind of interesting. Then I managed to see the first one. I was like, this is really good. And the third one just kind of... Same way with The Karate Kid. The first movie, okay. Second movie was the best. Third movie, Yeah, I could just sit down there. That was my thought process on it. But yeah, it's just I don't. It's just one of those things. The first and second movies were good. The third movie in the trilogy was kind of where they jumped the shark and just it all went to pot. But yeah, no, it was just one of those, one of those things with it. But Back to the Future though was a good movie. I finally got my mom to see the first one. It was up on Roku for free, or was it YouTube or Roku that had it? And she finally got to watch the first one. She's like, "This is really good." I'm like, "Yeah, it is." And I like the ending part where Marty's trying to get the DeLorean up. Second movie though was my favorite, the hover car. What they envisioned 2015 to be in the 80s. I always love that with movies in the 80s. They're always like, the future's going to be flying cars and holograms, and we don't have that. It's 2024. We still don't have really any of that. We have 3D movies, but that's about it. We don't have holograms. We don't have a holographic movies yet. Give me time. But we don't have that. But no, I actually did like Back to the Future. I liked the concept of it. The movie, the plot was really good. Kid gets sent back in time and has to get back to the present, or his present, which is the future, which is actually a really good concept. But yeah. Hey, Alter, what's up? Twix misbehaved about 3 minutes ago, so she's now in the crate in a timeout. Because she's been trying to jump the little barrier to get into my mom's room. She's getting stuck, and then she's trying to claw her way through, and she's now in the crate. She's in her timeout. Oh, fun story with this. So it's roosters and hens. They're not chickens. They're roosters and hens. And my mom knows this because they were out in our backyard, doing what happens at a Motel 6. Let's just put it that way. They were doing what happens at a Motel 6. So, unfortunately, they're roosters and yes. Oh, no, not yes. They are roosters and hens. So they will, yeah, I do too. We think they belong to the one neighbor, but we're not sure. And we're not about to ask him. But yeah, we're talking about the 80s. I just was giving my thoughts on those. Oh yeah, they are. They are annoying. I'm not lying. Freaking. And the sad thing is, they don't even crow at daybreak. They crow whenever they bleep and feel like it. They do not crow at daybreak. They crow whenever. Yeah, now she's trying to get out of her crate. Yep. We're talking about Back to the Future. I love Back to the Future. It's one of my favorites. The time traveling DeLorean, the just the plot and the premise of it. I love that movie. Except for the third one. The third one I kind of felt like was the weakest of the three. You had Back to the Future Part 2, which was really good, and then Back to the Future Part 3, where it's just kind of like, I only ever saw the first Gremlins, and I was just barely able to finally watch that. So I really have no verdict on that one. Oh, I ripped my pants leg again. I gotta fix these jeans. I just found another nice little rip in them. I gotta fix these jeans. Damn it. Yeah, I'll change my pants on before I go grocery shopping today, because I just found another rip in my damn jeans. Yeah, it was supposed to be like an evil Doc Brown. I saw something on YouTube about it, and I'm like, yeah, no, Part 3 was weird enough, thank you. We don't need Part 4. I'm like, Part 3 was weird enough. We're good with Part 3. We don't need Part 4. We don't need a Part 4. Part 4 is a no-go. But yeah. Yeah, I did see that on YouTube somewhere. But I was also saying it's something like akin to the Karate Kid movies, where the first one was really good. The second one was really good. The second one was actually better. And then the third one was just, why do we have this one again? Oh, because? Oh, great. That's why we have it. But, yep. I never liked the Goonies. I was not a fan of the Goonies. I never liked the Goonies. Not ever. I think AMC, it was America Movie Channel, had it on the one time. And I actually turned it off. I couldn't even make like 10 minutes into it. I was like, this is the most stupidest thing in the world. And I turned it off. Beetlejuice, I liked. I did like Beetlejuice. Granted, that one was a weird one where it was on a couple times. I would watch bits and pieces of it. Then I was finally able to watch the whole movie from start to finish. I was like, yes, this is what you call a decent movie. Showtime. Attention, Kmart shoppers. As he comes out of the table, too, because of the whole say his name 3 times and he about something, and he would just like suddenly pop up. I'm like, I must have said his name too many times. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Showtime. Showtime. Yeah. She's in timeout and she's trying to clap out of her crate now. Sir, here's the fun part. My mom was a bigger Indiana Jones fan than I am. I got her the very first Indiana Jones movie I ever actually watched. Not clips, not snippets, that I ever watched from start to finish was sadly Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And it turned me off of any other Indiana Jones franchise. I have seen clips of Raiders of the Lost Ark. I know of Raiders of the Lost Ark, but as God no. And my mom, she's a huge Indiana Jones nut. She likes the franchise. She loves the movie. Then when I showed her Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I got her that for Christmas the one year we watched it, and she goes, "This is the stupidest thing I have ever seen in my life." And I'm like, "This is Indiana Jones?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, not for me. I was out. Beverly Hills Cop's second ones, though, are definitely my all-time favorites. I will go outrated, unfortunately. The sad thing is, I honestly feel like this is something that I definitely want to talk about with this episode today. I feel like the MPAA should really go back through and re-rate some of these movies as opposed to its R rating that it got. There's a movie like, now Bloodsport is a hard R. That is a hard R movie. That came out in the 80s. That is a hard R. You cannot deny that that is not an R. That is a solid R-rated movie. If you ever want a premise to base your ratings off of, that is the movie to do it, and it's Bloodsport. But for Beverly Hills Cop, that honestly feels like to me more of a PG-13 movie. Like, you could definitely take your kids to see this movie. You're just not taking little kids to go see this movie. You're taking more of the adult kids to see this movie. Like, oh, the teenagers. Those are the ones you're taking to see this movie. As far as the R rating it got, I kind of feel like at the time, yes, but by nowadays standards, no. And I definitely want to say that that's something that I would love to get done, would be to have the MPAA re-rate the movies from at least the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Re-rate those movies and see if any of them can actually qualify for like a lower threshold on the rating scale. If it could be PG-13 or if it could actually be R-rated yet. Because I feel like Beverly Hills Cop is only rated R because of the crude humor, but yet you could get away with that in PG-13. Because I don't remember there ever being an amalgam of swear words in that would have justified the R rating. So I feel like that could have been a solid PG-13 standards. Okay, Coming to America, I never actually were trying to one-up each other. That's the entire movie, and I hate that. because they're both really good. They were both really good comedians at the time. They are trying to one up one another, and that bothers the ever loving shit out of me. So The Great Outdoors is one that I actually do hate. Ghostbusters, I'm a nerd. Come on, I love Ghostbusters. I know Ghostbusters. I'm a nerd, for God's sake. I'm a nerd. I know Ghostbusters. Short Circuit, yes. I remember the first one sucked ass. The second one, loved it. I watched that when I was in first grade, recorded it off the TV. That entire 2 weeks that I was off school from this blizzard, that just blanketed the entire area. I mean, we had snow up to our front door. We were stuck in here. And I'm watching Short Circuit 2 the entire time. I'm watching Short Circuit 2. It's like, I like this movie. This is a good movie. I love Short Circuit 2. The original Short Circuit, forget it. I hate that. It was so much better with Short Circuit 2 than the original. The second one, the sequel, was a lot better. But yes, Johnny Five's alive! Grasshopper disassembled. Yeah. Like I said, the original was not the world's greatest. The sequel was a lot better than the original was. Police Academy, I actually did like watching that. Though, to be fair, I only ever really watched the first one. The other sequels they made afterwards, I never really watched. Mostly because they were never on TV. Come up a few times. I just never actually watched them. I watched the original. I was content with the original more so than the other ones. I was content with the original. I've seen it. What was that movie? What was that movie? It was an Airplane. The one where it was like a really god awful comedy. That's the one that that is the one that just completely blew my mind. I was like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But yeah, there's that. Crocodile Dundee. No, I have not seen Crocodile Dundee. I've heard of it. I've seen clips of it. I have never actually watched the movie. I know of That's Not a Knife. This is a knife. That I know that. Plus, unless you're a really diehard Simpsons fan like I am, it's like, that's not a knife. This is a knife. That's a spoon. I see you played knifey spoony before. Yes, if you're a diehard Simpsons fan like I am, you will know that line wholeheartedly. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I watched it. Actually, I have a DVD of it. My buddy with all my other DVDs because I don't know if we're going to get to stay here or not yet. So he has all my movies. You're seriously asking me about Spaceballs? I can quote that movie by heart. Okay? I can quote that movie by heart. Careful, you idiots! And across her nose, not up it! Sorry, sir. Doing my best. Who made that man a gunner? I did, sir. He's my cousin. Who's that man? He's an asshole, sir. I know that, but what's his name? That is his name. That is his name. Major Asshole. And his cousin? He's an asshole too, sir. Gunner's mate first class, Philip Asshole. How many assholes we got on this ship, anyhow? Yo! I know it. I'm surrounded by assholes. Yeah, I love Spaceballs. The first time I ever saw it was Memorial Day. I think it was in I want to say middle school or elementary school. I think it was elementary school. And it was on TV. It was Memorial Day weekend. And my uncle was watching it. And I'm just looking at this like, this is the weirdest thing ever. He goes, no, sit down, watch this with me. He goes, you're going to love this. I fell in love with that movie. Instantly fell in love with Spaceballs. I can quote that thing by heart. I can quote that movie. Okay, didn't like Airplane. I was never a huge fan of Bill and Ted. Die Hard, it's a Christmas movie. I will go to thy grave. I won't fight anyone to the death on that. Turner and Hooch I did actually like. That was not a bad movie. I kind of wish it would have. I kind of wish they wouldn't have half-assed that sequel on Disney Plus in a way, but whatever. Aliens, not a huge Sigourney Weaver fan. I never have been a huge Sigourney Weaver fan. There's only 2 movies that she's in that I can stand watching. Holes and Avatar. That is it. I am not a Sigourney Weaver fan. Hell, I can barely tolerate her in Galaxy Quest. But then again, for that movie, she's like a side character I really don't give 2 shits about. I care more about the plot in that movie. So I guess 3. Lethal Weapon, I only ever came in as like Lethal Weapon 4, so I never actually watched the originals. Tron, I did watch, god awful by today's standards, but at the time, yeah, it was all right, but by today's standards. Never liked Roadhouse, but then again, I'm not a humongous fan of the guy that starred in it. I mean, I've watched a lot of his movies, but I'm not a huge fan of his. Terminator, come on, Schwarzenegger, freaking classic. Though Terminator 2 Judgment Day was my favorite of the Terminator franchise. Risky Business, no. No, I don't like it at all. The Princess Bride, yes, love the movie. When we didn't have internet for a week, I finally got my mom to sit down and watch that movie. She was in here before I popped that DVD in that player, begging our router to start working. She was legit on the table. She's like, please start working. Start working, please. I don't want to watch this movie. She actually hates it, but I love The Princess Bride. I'm not a huge fan of horror movies, so Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Hellraiser, Cujo, no. Yeah, Patrick Swayze. I've seen some of his stuff. I'm just not a huge fan of his. Little Shop of Horrors. I did an entire rant video and a review video on Little Shop of Horrors. Decent movie. I like it. No. Don't like Fox and the Hound. Not a fan of The Black Cauldron. I hate The Great Mouse Detective, but then again, I am a Sherlock Holmes fan, but I'm just in the 90s, because I remember seeing that in theaters as a kid, not in the 80s. So I do remember seeing Oliver and Company in theaters. So I thought that came out in the 90s. Seen parts of it, but again, I'm just not into that crap. But as far as The Fly is concerned, forget it. That movie was bleh. That movie was bleh. And I watched some of those cheesy horror movies and cheesy movies. Svengoolie is like this programming block on the one channel when we actually had cable on a Saturday night. It was called Svengoolie. I'll pop it in. That's not a problem. That's the type of actor he is to me. It's like, you're not a permanent solution. You're a I'm me solution, but yeah. Well, to be fair, Gremlins was going to get a lot of knockoffs when they saw how popular it was. I never heard of Ghoulies. I know of only one Munchie, and that's a god-awful thing from Mystery Science Theater 3000, which I never want to see again. Hobgoblins, not sure. 48 Hours, never saw. Weekend at Bernie's, the first one was good. Second one, no. History of the World, Part 1. I love that. And then they were wondering for the longest time where Part 2 is, and he finally just came out with Part 2 as a TV series. I'm not a huge Chevy Chase fan, so I actually did not like Fletch. I've seen it because TV Land had it up the one weekend for viewing, but I did not enjoy it. National Lampoon Vacation is my favorite when they went to Wally World. It's the first one. I hate E.T. with passion. Flight of the Navigator, I've never heard of. Explorers, nope. The Thing, I've heard of, don't like. Repo Man, sounds familiar, but not off the top of my head. They Live, not sure. American Tail, I'm not a fan of American Tail. The Land Before Time is okay. Never one of my favorites. I was never a fan of All Dogs Go to Heaven. That was my friend Ashley. She was more of a fan of All Dogs Go to Heaven. I am not a fan of All Dogs Go to Heaven. I like Oliver and Company more than All Dogs Go to Heaven. Never Ending Story, not really, because the story does come to an end. So, but no. I actually have seen Splash. And me saying that, I already feel like I immediately need to wash my mouth out with soap. I have seen Splash. I feel like that's an instant I need to wash my mouth out with soap. I've seen it. I have seen Return to Oz. Fun story. So there were times when I was in school I had bouts of insomnia because of stress and everything else. What's it already starting to get snow? Oh, it must be snowing a little bit. So your headlights are already on. Um, so fun story. When I was in high school, I would, and even in middle school, I would occasionally get little bouts of insomnia. And what ended up happening was I would effectively turn on the TV at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, just try to find something to put me to sleep. Instead of just laying there in bed being miserable about it. It annoyed my grandfather because I was jacking up the electric bill and he could hear noise. It was pissing him off. It's like, there's nothing I could do about it. I had insomnia. So I actually saw Return to Oz. It was the weirdest thing I ever saw. I never knew what the hell it was called until, honestly, a few months ago. There was a video up about it on YouTube. And that's when I realized there's an actual name for this thing. It's like a sequel to Wizard of Oz. I was like, I did not know that. All I remember is the scene with the robot and the girl shows up and he goes, I'm pretending that I need to be wound up so you can see. It's like he's trying to cheat this in a way so that she can see what's going on. And I'm just like, I didn't get the premise of it. But then again, to be fair, I came in near the tail end of it. So I was completely lost with Return to Oz. For Conan the Barbarian, it's actually a Schwarzenegger movie I will turn off. Hey, Bifer. Legend, I've never heard of that one. Secret of Nim, didn't like. Last Unicorn, Plague Dogs, I thought that was it's the Island of Dogs or Isle of Dogs. I never heard of Plague Dogs. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, yes, because I love the second one, Honey, I Blew Up the Baby, or Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. I love that movie. It was one of my first. It was one of like the one major VHS purchases I had back in the day, and I love that movie with a passion. I have seen Stripes. I have seen Stripes. I'm just I have seen Stripes. Yes, I've seen Young Sherlock Holmes. Clash of the Titans, no. I've not seen that. Alright, yep. Hey, you might as well just speed run this thing. See if I've seen it and I'll give some thoughts on it. Go for it, Alter. You seem to be running this show today. So go for it. Go for it. Let's speed run this bitch. Ready? Alright, we're going into shows. Inspector Gadget. Yes, seen Inspector Gadget. Love it. Love the theme song. Don Adams did a great job as the bumbling idiot. Then again, he played Maxwell Smart and Get Smart for the longest time, so you know how to play a bumbling idiot. Alf. Come on. Little alien life form. I love that show. To a point, but the movie that they capped off the finale with just bleeping sucked. Never liked Pee-wee's Playhouse. Then again, I was not a huge Paul Reubens fan. Never really was. I had seen it when it was airing in syndication, right when Fox Family started, and then ABC Family, and then that was it. Cheers, yes, seen it. Not a huge fan of it, but I've seen it. That stupid theme song gets stuck in my head every single time I think about it. It's one of the other few songs that I know the whole lyrics to. Seinfeld, it's a show about nothing. How do we know when it's over? Oh, when they all go to jail, that's when we know it's over. And yes, I've seen Seinfeld. Wasn't a huge fan of Seinfeld, but I've seen it. I have seen some episodes of Murphy Brown, but never exactly got into it. Full House, yes. I've seen Full House, unfortunately. Never saw Hey Dude. I have seen bits and pieces of Coach, never liked it. Loved Family Matters, though, but then again, that show was basically the Full House knockoff that did better. Saved by the Bell, come on, I love Saved by the Bell. I never saw Possession, though. Viper, I never saw Possession, though. That's a new one. I've never seen that one. I've heard of the storyteller from watching Defunctland's entire miniseries on Jim Henson. Never actually watched it. Fraggle Rock, come on! I love the theme song. MacGyver, I MacGyver or Sync. I MacGyver. All right, I did. I don't have to do that now. But I have MacGyvered stuff in this house. Come on, MacGyver. I know MacGyver. That's a fun thing. I actually didn't. Are you talking the animated Castle in the Sky Bifer, or are we talking throwback tunes on YouTube? Count Duckula. I saw the opening for it, but that would have been a show I would have turned off. Okay, the animated one. Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of Castle in the Sky. Okay, real quick here. Hold on. I gotta try to catch up here. Okay. All right, I've never seen The Man with Two Brains. Come on, I watched Garfield and Friends. I hate the original intro, but I love the one that we actually got for syndicated reruns. Thundercats, come on, I love Thundercats. Save for Thundercats Roar, but also that's what I should add to my MP3 player. So Thundercats, I love Chippendale Rescue Rangers. I have their theme song. Same for DuckTales. Heathcliff's a good show. Smurfs, I grew up on Smurfs because it was the 90s. I grew up with the Smurfs on Cartoon Network, and the Snorks, they're watery cousins. They're water-filled cousins. Oh, yeah, come on. I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I was a kid. I used to find, like, the VHS tapes that had, like, a couple episodes at flea markets for, like, a quarter. And I love that theme song, too. So I know of Roxanne. I have just not actually watched Roxanne. I know of it. I've seen the poster for it. I have never sat down to watch it. I know the theme song for the Gummy Bears. I didn't actually watch it. Never saw Tender Mercies, unfortunately. I have seen Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and I just would like to say that show can go right off the cliff and down into a bottomless pit of acid and lava. Basically, just throw lava, acid, and whatever other harsh chemicals you can think of into a giant pit and just push that show right off into it. And I would be extremely happy about that. I would not complain. Alf the Animated Series, yes, I've seen Alf the Animated Series, at least bits and pieces, not. I know of the original He-Man. I actually saw the remake that they did. I think it was like in 2000. I watched that one that Cartoon Network did. But as far as the original, I know the intro. That's about it. She-Ra, yeah, same deal. I know the original. Never saw The Pickup Artist. That's one I don't know. I know of Denver the Last Dinosaur. That's a new one. Come on, Voltron. Peter Cullen was the narrator for Voltron. I had getting the die-cast Voltron in pieces at different flea markets. Like, I was searching for that on top of searching for Centurions figures. I was getting, like, the pieces. I had, like, 4 of the blue lion, 4 of the yellow lion. It was finding the green, red, and black lion. Sorry, I had, like, 3 of the black lion. It was finding the red and the green lion that was kicking my ass. But, oh, my God, I had pieces of Voltron. That sucker was heavy, too, back in the day. That was die-cast metal. And you chuck that at somebody, and they're going to be feeling the power of Voltron. And not in a good way. Let's see here. Never heard of Super Ted. Never heard of Dink the Little Dinosaur. Yes, I've heard of Richie Rich, both the cartoon and the movie. Thundar the Barbarian, yes, because that was syndicated when I was little in the 90s. Never heard of the Shirt Tales. I have seen the ending of David the Gnome because my mom's into gnomes. I was trying to show her there was a cartoon about gnomes. I think she fell in love with that more than I would, but then again. There is that. We can do video games from the 80s. That's fine. Contra, heard of. Never played it, though. Metroid. I played Metroid Prime. I think it was for the GameCube. That was about it. I never actually played any of the old school Mega Man games, sadly. I know. So, fun story. The very first ever Mario game I ever played was Super Mario Sunshine. Never beat it, but I played it. I got that the summer I got an ear infection because my mom goes, I'm going to have to stay inside. I was not allowed to go outside and run around. I had to stay indoors because of my ear infection. So I had a GameCube at the time. She goes, okay. She's like, so is there a game you want for your GameCube that you have? Does you have some money saved up? Is there a game you want? I'm like, yeah, Super Mario Sunshine. So she went and she lent me, I think it was like, I was $5 short for it. She lent me the $5 to get Super Mario Sunshine, and that was it. I got it. I was like, yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good. I never played any of the other ones. I have heard of the thing. Never saw it. I have seen Amadeus, though. We had to watch that when I was in middle school in music class. Pac-Man. I know. I played Pac-Man. I played the arcade version. Donkey Kong. Yes, I've heard of Donkey Kong. Q*bert. Honestly, the sad thing was I hadn't heard of Q*bert until I did this color in this thing in a magazine. And I was like, who the hell is Q*bert? My mom goes, oh, Q*bert was a cool... Like, okay, mom knows about this video game thing. Who doesn't know about Tetris? Come on. You don't know about Tetris. And Duck Hunt. Come on, the notorious dog. That thing is the birth of many memes. That dog. Yeah, I never heard of the Pickup Artist. And to be fair, I did not watch a lot of old school Robert Downey Jr. movies. So I would not have known about that one, but I will look into that one. That does sound pretty good. Yes, Legend of Zelda. Both there was that cartoon in the 80s and the game series in the 80s. Never played them though. That also had Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. I played Ocarina of Time. I played Majora's Mask. Never beat either of them. Never beat either of them. I barely even got into the game, and I was just like, that's it. I'm done. I've seen Rocky 3, though. I'm actually more of a fan of Rocky 4 than Rocky 3, but I have seen Rocky 3. Oh, come on. Transformers Alter. I know Transformers. I mean, I played Monopoly on the computer, but I never had the actual board game of Monopoly. I have had discount knockoff Battleship games. I have had a discount knockoff Connect 4. I did play Mousetrap when I was in elementary school. We had a game. Like, everybody had to bring in a couple board games. And for, like, an entire week, that was our class, was trying out different board games to see if we could, like, master the board game. Which was actually kind of fun. Bloodsport. I love Bloodsport. I showed that to my mom. And she's like, she did not think that that's what the movie was going to be. I'm like, oh, no, this is what the movie's going to be. She thought it was going to be, like, this really nice adventure trying to like stop something. I'm like, oh no. I said, this is a hard R movie. And it is a damn good hard R movie. I love that movie. Believe it or not, I actually have heard it called Candy Castle, but yeah, Candyland, I have played that. I have played Guess Who. I'm not a huge fan of horror movies, so Friday the 13th. I've seen pieces of it, but I'm not a huge fan of it. Scrabble, Yahtzee, yeah, why not? Go for it. I have heard of Teen Wolf, never actually watched it, though. Never heard of Topple or Bedbugs or Shark Attack. I know of a game when I was a kid called Don't Wake Daddy, but that came out in the 90s. Oh my god! I know how to cheat the Rubik's Cube. There's that. I can cheat the Rubik's Cube. So, I'll probably call this one up here soon, guys. Yep, I've seen Police Academy. Yeah, I have. I actually have had a couple Rubik's Cubes. I have seen Fireball Islands. I have seen GoBots. I love Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. The one with the whales. Crocodile Dentist, I've seen that. Casualties of War. Nope, haven't seen that. Let's see. Haven't seen The Serpent and the Rainbow. I played Twister. Never seen Young Guns. Love throw mom from the train though. That was a good thing. Never heard about that. I have had a few Gumbies, GoBots. Yep. Wallace and Gromit I don't think would count, or Simon, or yep, never heard of the Death Touch stuff. But yep. But my ride's here for me to go grocery shopping, guys. So it's time to go. I'll catch you all next week. We'll be doing the 90s. My era, when I was a kid. We're talking 90s next week, guys. Woo! See you all next week here on the worst podcast ever. Yeah, there's a lot. I don't know a lot of the rides, though, from the 80s, unfortunately, at Disney. But like I said, my grocery ride's here. I got to go before the storm comes, guys. So take care, and I'll catch you all next week. Bye-bye.